Service entrance conductors can use a cable wiring method from the outside utility meter to the inside service disconnect, even if the SEU type cable exits the back of the meter enclosure, goes into 2x6 building frame, and travels 3 feet horizontally before entering the recessed electrical service disconnect. The interior walls incorporating a 5-inch gypsum finished wallboard also do not present an issue. However, it is crucial that the cable is protected from physical damage by the 2x6 building frame or by another approved method. The National Electrical Code, specifically Article 230.30, governs the installation of service entrance conductors. This section mandates that service entrance conductors must be installed following the specifications outlined in Articles 230, 310, and 318. Furthermore, Article 230.30 emphasizes that the size of service entrance conductors must not be less than what is specified in Table 310.15b16 for services. Table 310.15b16 provides the minimum conductor size required based on the service amperage. For a 100 amp service, the minimum size for service entrance conductors is 4 AWG copper or 2 AWG aluminum. SEU cable is designed for use as service entrance conductors. It typically consists of 2 or 3 insulated conductors encased in a moisture-resistant jacket. The NEC does not explicitly prohibit the use of SEU cable for service entrance conductors installed within a 2x6 building frame. However, the key requirement is that the cable must be adequately protected from physical damage. This protection can be achieved through the 2x6 building frame itself or by using other approved means like conduit. Now, focusing on the scenario where the SEU cable exits the meter enclosure and passes through the 2x6 building frame, it's important to ensure that the frame provides sufficient physical protection. If the cable is adequately shielded from potential impacts or abrasions, then this installation method is generally compliant. Additionally, the meter enclosure itself contributes to protecting the cable from environmental elements. Therefore, with the 2x6 frame providing physical protection and the meter enclosure offering environmental protection, the installation aligns with NEC standards. In summary, confirm the correct conductor size from Table 310.15b16 based on the service amperage. Secondly, ensure the SEU cable is rated and listed for service entrance use. Thirdly, provide adequate physical protection for the cable, whether by the building frame or other approved means. Fourthly, verify that all connections are properly made and tightened according to manufacturer specifications and NEC requirements. Fifthly, ensure the installation complies with all other applicable NEC requirements and local codes. Sixthly, inspect the installation to ensure it is safe and compliant. By adhering to these guidelines, the installation of SEU cable for a 100 amp service entrance within a 2x6 building frame can be safely and code compliant. Service entrance conductors carry the entire electrical load for a building or structure, making the proper selection and installation critical for safety and reliability. It is also important to understand the different types of service entrance cable available, such as SE, use, and SEU. SE cable, or service entrance cable, is a general term that encompasses both use and SEU cables. Use cable, or underground service entrance cable, is designed for direct burial in the earth and is typically used for underground service laterals. SEU cable, or service entrance cable unarmored, is designed for above-ground use and is typically used for overhead service drops. The choice of cable type will depend on the specific installation requirements and local codes. In addition to the conductor size and cable type, it is also important to consider the ampacity of the service entrance conductors. Ampacity is the current carrying capacity of a conductor and is determined by the conductor size, insulation type, and ambient temperature. The ampacity of the service entrance conductors must be equal to or greater than the calculated load of the building or structure. The calculated load is the total amount of electrical power that is expected to be used by the building or structure. The calculated load is determined by adding up the wattage of all of the electrical appliances, lights, and equipment that will be used in the building or structure. Once the calculated load is determined, The ampacity of the service entrance conductors can be selected from Table 310.15b16 in the NEC. It is also important to consider the voltage drop in the service entrance conductors. Voltage drop is the reduction in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a conductor. Voltage drop can be caused by the resistance of the conductor, the length of the conductor, and the amount of current flowing through the conductor. Excessive voltage drop can cause electrical appliances and equipment to malfunction or fail. The NEC recommends that voltage drop in the service entrance conductors should not exceed 3%. To minimize voltage drop, it is important to use conductors that are large enough for the calculated load and to keep the length of the conductors as short as possible. In addition to the requirements for service entrance conductors, the NEC also has requirements for service entrance equipment. Service entrance equipment is the equipment that is used to connect the service entrance conductors to the building or structure's electrical system. Service entrance equipment includes the service disconnect, the meter, and the panel board. The service disconnect is the main switch that is used to disconnect the building or structure's electrical system from the utility power supply. The service disconnect must be located in a readily accessible location and must be capable of disconnecting all of the ungrounded conductors. The meter is the device that is used to measure the amount of electricity that is used by the building or structure. The meter is typically located on the outside of a building or structure so that the utility company can read it. The panel board is the electrical panel that contains the circuit breakers or fuses that protect the individual circuits in the building or structure. The panel board must be located in a readily accessible location and must be large enough to accommodate all of the circuits that are needed. All service entrance equipment must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories UL. This ensures that the equipment has been tested and meets safety standards. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may also be local codes that apply to service entrance installations. Local codes may be more stringent than the NEC requirements, so it is important to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes. When installing service entrance conductors and equipment, it is important to follow all safety precautions. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical equipment. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses, gloves, and a hard hat. Use only tools that are in good condition and that are properly insulated. If you are not comfortable working on electrical equipment, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Improperly installed service entrance conductors and equipment can be dangerous and can cause fires or electrical shock. It is important to take the time to do the job right and to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and safety standards. Remember, electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any doubts or questions. Their expertise ensures that the installation is not only code compliant but also safe and reliable for the long term. Also remember to check with your local utility company because they may have requirements as well. The utility company's requirements might include the location of the meter, the type of meter enclosure, and the size of the service entrance conductors. These requirements are in addition to the NEC requirements and local codes, so it is important to check with the utility company before starting any service entrance installation. Regarding the specific scenario, where the SEU cable travels 3 feet horizontally within the TUC6 building frame before entering the recessed service disconnect, it is crucial to address the physical protection aspect. While the TUC6 frame provides some protection, it may not be sufficient in all cases. If there is a risk of the cable being damaged by nails, screws, or other objects, additional protection may be required. This could include installing the cable in conduit or using a metal sleeve to protect it from physical damage. The NEC also requires that service entrance conductors be supported at intervals not exceeding 30 inches. This support helps to prevent the cable from sagging or being damaged. The supports must be suitable for the type of cable being used and must be securely fastened to the building structure. In addition to the physical protection and support requirements, it is also important to ensure that the SEU cable is properly terminated at both the meter enclosure and the service disconnect. The terminations must be made in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and must be tight and secure. Loose or corroded terminations can cause overheating and can lead to fires. It is also important to ensure that the grounding system is properly installed. The grounding system is designed to protect people from electrical shock by providing a low resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source. The grounding system must be installed in accordance with the NEC and must be properly connected to the service entrance equipment and the building's grounding electrode system. Failure to properly ground the electrical system can result in serious injury or death. When working with service entrance conductors, it is important to be aware of the potential hazards. Service entrance conductors are typically uninsulated and carry a high voltage. Contact with these conductors can result in serious electrical shock or death. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical equipment and wear appropriate personal protective equipment. If you are not comfortable working on electrical equipment, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. In summary, the installation of SEU cable for a 100 amp service entrance within a 2x6 building frame is permitted by the NEC provided that the cable is adequately protected from physical damage, properly supported, and correctly terminated. The grounding system must also be properly installed. Always follow safety precautions and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any doubts or questions. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that the service entrance installation is safe, compliant, and reliable. Also remember that 5-inch gypsum wall board provides a degree of fire resistance, but it is not considered to be a primary means of protection for service entrance conductors. The primary means of protection for service entrance conductors is physical protection, such as conduit or a metal sleeve. The gypsum wall board can provide some additional protection in the event of a fire, but it should not be relied upon as the sole means of protection. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may also be local codes that require additional fire protection for service entrance conductors. Check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes. When selecting SEU cable for service entrance installation, it is important to choose a cable that is rated for the voltage and amperage of the service. The cable must also be suitable for the environment in which it will be installed. For example, if the cable will be exposed to sunlight, it must be sunlight resistant. If the cable will be buried underground, it must be direct burial rated. The SEU cable must be marked with the voltage and amperage rating, the type of insulation, and the manufacturer's name or trademark. This information is important for ensuring that the cable is used properly and safely. It is also important to inspect the SEU cable before installation to ensure that it is not damaged. Damaged cable can be a fire hazard or an electrical shock hazard. If the cable is damaged, it should be replaced. When installing SEU cable, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions. The instructions will provide information on how to properly install the cable, including the correct bending radius, the correct support spacing, and the correct termination methods. Following the manufacturer's instructions will help to ensure that the cable is installed safely and correctly. The NEC also has requirements for the installation of SEU cable. These requirements are intended to ensure that the cable is installed safely and correctly. Some of the key NEC requirements for SEU cable installation include using approved fittings and connectors, supporting the cable at intervals not exceeding 30 inches, and protecting the cable from physical damage. By following the NEC requirements, you can help to ensure that the SEU cable installation is safe and compliant. In addition to the technical aspects of SEU cable installation, it is also important to consider the aesthetic aspects. The SEU cable should be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. The cable should be run in a straight line and should be properly supported. The cable should not be exposed to physical damage or to the elements. By paying attention to the aesthetic aspects of the installation, you can help to ensure that the installation is both safe and visually appealing. The horizontal run of 3 feet within the 2x6 building frame requires careful attention to detail. The cable must be supported at intervals not exceeding 30 inches, and the supports must be securely fastened to the building structure. The cable must also be protected from physical damage. One option is to install the cable and conduit. Conduit provides excellent physical protection and can also help to support the cable. Another option is to use a metal sleeve to protect the cable from physical damage. The metal sleeve should be securely fastened to the building structure and should be long enough to cover the entire horizontal run of the cable. If the cable is exposed to sunlight, it must be protected from ultraviolet radiation. Ultraviolet radiation can damage the cable insulation and can shorten the life of the cable. One option is to use a sunlight-resistant cable. Another option is to protect the cable with a sunlight-resistant covering. The sunlight-resistant covering should be securely fastened to the building structure and should be long enough to cover the entire horizontal run of the cable. The service disconnect must be located in a readily accessible location and must be capable of disconnecting all of the ungrounded conductors. The service disconnect must be marked to indicate its purpose. The service disconnect must be installed in accordance with the NEC and must be properly grounded. The meter must be installed in a location that is accessible to the utility company. The meter must be protected from physical damage and from the element. The meter must be installed in accordance with the utility company's requirements and must be properly grounded. The panel board must be located in a readily accessible location and must be large enough to accommodate all of the circuits that are needed. The panel board must be marked to indicate the purpose of each circuit breaker or fuse. The panel board must be installed in accordance with the NEC and must be properly grounded. All of the electrical equipment must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories UL. This ensures that the equipment has been tested and meets safety standards. The electrical system must be inspected by a qualified electrical inspector before it is put into service. The electrical inspector will verify that the installation complies with all applicable codes and safety standards.